Tila lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha Ki mekor habracha Merosh mikadem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'mashavat tehila lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Sorry, the stream is having sound issues. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva ore kumi uri, 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 shir da beri, kivod Adonai alaik nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. We rise in body or spirit for verse 9 and face the door as we welcome the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzochola, toch emunei ham segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. Okay, to everyone online, I think the sound should be back. Okay. Sorry, everyone. I shouldn't ever put it on mute. Just never, because I never remembered to turn it back on. We're going to all continue together with Mizmor Shir, our psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92 on 140. Mizmor Shir leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai. Ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatcha balelot. Ale yasur ve'ale navel, ale higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai. Ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Ki samachtani Adonai b'fo'olecha, b'ma'aseh yadecha aranein. Ma gadlu ma'asecha Adonai, me'od amku ma'shevotecha. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai. Ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Together, the righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock, in whom there is no wrong. Well, the rain is really coming down. We're going to continue with Shalom Aleichem, where we welcome our Shabbat angels on 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malechei Hasharet, Malechei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, Malechei Hashalom, Malechei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malechei Hashalom, Malechei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malechei Hashalom, Malechei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Continue on 144 with the Kaddish as we mark this moment of transition where we start with psalms and songs and warm ourselves up. At this moment we pause. The Kaddish, the half Kaddish, is like a comma, right, or a bookmark, right, before we transition into the Baruch Hu. We join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechonu v'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael bagala ubizman kariv v'meru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam u'me'omaya yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei d'Kedusha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'meru amen. Turn to 146 as we rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai lai. Yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. We continue together in the middle of 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai Maariy Aravim. Middle of 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, in the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We turn the page as we join together for the Shema, the watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. We continue with Veehavta on the following page. Veehavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta baham b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochlecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Top of 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. And we metaphorically join hands with the singing of Chamocha, our song of crossing the sea on 158. Yai lai lai yai lai la 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 yai lai 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 ya la 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 yai lai lai yai lai la 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 yai lai 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha neda b'kodesh Nora tehilot hosefele, Nora tehilot hosefele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Elianu ve'amru, Ze Elianu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Our prayer for safety in the night, Hashkivenu, is both on 160 and the English is up on the screen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haparei sukkot shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue together on 162 with Vishamru. That I apparently deleted the words to the slides of. But we're going to sing Vishamru. Top of 162. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael, Oti leolam, Veshamru, Bnei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat, Ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim, Asa Adonai, et hashamayim vet haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Veshamru, V'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat, Ledorotam berit olam. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. We rise in body or spirit, beginning in 164 for the Amidah, our standing prayer. We chant through 170. Adonai sifatayv tiftach ufi yagit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imachot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'nehem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Chamocha bal Gevurot, Umido melach, melech me'mitu mechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'amanata lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, lo kadoshim b'chol yom yalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. The top of 173, we continue together. It gets so much quieter when that goes off. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Kaddish HaShabbat. We pray together in the middle of 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odacha levadcha bir'ah na'avod. The middle of 177. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. We continue on 178 with Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hambarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Take a moment for silent prayer, the words on 180 and 181, the words of your hearts. Ose shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael. As our hearts and our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing, of body or mind or of spirit, we turn to page 371, 371 in the middle of the page. We invite those online to add names to the chat. And those in the room, if there's someone you're thinking of and you'd like to share their name, please feel free to do so. Al Berman, Dennis Linderman, Iris Kamer, Raji Griwal, Celeste Stoneburner, Suzanne Serlin-Resnick, Mary Brown, Troy Serlin-Zerkowski, Jim Schicker, Rena Masari, Becker family. We hold all those named and unnamed in our hearts. We add to those names those suffering from COVID-19 and from natural disasters and violence around our world. Shebeirach Avotenu Mekor habracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. I used to think that the most important line in the Bible was love your neighbor as yourself. Then I realized that it is easy to love your neighbor because he or she is usually quite like yourself. What is hard is to love the stranger, one whose color, culture, or creed is different from yours. That is why the command, love the stranger because you were once strangers, resonates so often throughout the Bible. It is summoning us now. From Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichron Livracha, may his memory be for a blessing. This week we read from Parshat Vayigash, which brings the story of Joseph and his brothers almost to a close. We read how Joseph found good land for them, and Pharaoh gives his blessing for Jacob, his sons, and their families to make a permanent home in Egypt because of the famine in Canaan. We then read how Joseph carefully grants food to all those suffering from the famine, first in exchange for money, then in exchange for their livestock, finally in exchange for their land itself. Many people focus on the role of forgiveness in this parsha. Joseph forgave his brothers. Reunions occur. It's a powerful moment in the history of our ancestors. Yet I cannot help but read these chapters with disappointment in Joseph. By the end of the parsha, he has made serfs, slaves of the Egyptian people. He has withheld food and seeds from the people unless they agree in perpetuity to give Pharaoh 1/5 of their harvest. It will not be long after Joseph's death that the tables will turn, and the Israelites, Joseph's family, will become those who are enslaved. It is with this perspective that I read Rabbi Sachs's comment regarding loving one's neighbor versus loving the stranger. We are commanded to love the stranger because loving the stranger is difficult. It is also incredibly relevant at this moment, right here in Kalamazoo. Our congregation has committed alongside People's Church and Congregation of Moses to be co-sponsors of at least 2 families of refugees from Afghanistan. This is not new for our community. Both the congregation and member families have supported and continue to support families from other countries who have made their home here in our little corner of Michigan. When I think of our ancestors making their way to Egypt, hoping beyond hope to find food and support, I am grateful that Joseph was there to welcome them and that Pharaoh was agreeable. Because of our time as slaves in Egypt, Pharaoh receives a bad rep in our stories. But this Pharaoh, who raises Joseph up from prison to second in command, this Pharaoh helped save our ancestors. It is in this spirit that I hope each one of us will become involved at whatever level we feel comfortable with welcoming and supporting our new neighbors who are strangers to us and who find themselves arriving in a new country without even the basic necessities. The TBI board has established a fund to help financially support the families we are helping to sponsor, if you're interested in donating money. We are also always looking for more housing opportunities for families. If you know of a place, a house or apartment that may be available or will be available soon, and there will continue to be needs of donations of various kinds, though please ask or reach out to ask if something is needed before bringing it to one of the places accepting donations. There will also be an ongoing need of time from community members, running errands and helping with shopping, kids needing assistance. If you're interested in volunteering your time, please do let us know. We will connect you to the coordinator. We know what it is like to be a stranger in a strange land. Let us move from being strangers to being neighbors. Let us welcome all those who are arriving in our community with love. May we follow the words from this week's Haftarah selection, which tells us God's presence is here with us. O Lord, prepare me to be your sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. In thanksgiving, I'll be your living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli mikdash v'shanti betoham ve'anachnu nevarech yam me'ata ve'ad olam. We continue together on the bottom of 586. We rise in body or spirit for Aleinu. The bottom of 586 followed by the top of 588. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו הואי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים